The government has released new GDP series with the revised base year of 2022-23. While the growth figures have seen an upward revision, the nominal GDP estimate of FY26 has come down to rupees 345 lakh crore in the revised series compared to the 357 lakh crore in the old series. The discrepancies also have gone up in the revised series. To elaborate on the changes, we have Aditi Nayyar, Chief Economist, ICRA, with us. Welcome to the show, Aditi.
Thank you so much.
So, as per the revised series, the nominal GDP of the country has shrunk compared to the estimate in the old series. Which are the sectors and components that have contributed to this shrinkage?
Sure. When we look at the GVA side, the gross value added side, we basically have seen lower estimates now for two major sectors of the services sector, which is the trade, hotel, transport, communication, etc., and the
Okay.
public administration, defense, and other services. So THTCS, the first one, here we've seen the sharpest downward revision, and that is followed by the public administration, defense, and other services. Within industry, we've seen a 4 to 5% reduction in the size of construction and electricity as well. As far as the expenditure side estimates is concerned, the biggest correction has been made in the size of the private final consumption expenditure.
That's
And the
right.
pace of growth has also now been moderated as compared to the average of around 7% that was coming through for the last few years, which had seemed to be at odds, particularly with the kind of commentary that we were getting from the consumer goods companies.
So, when you compare the old series, the share of government final consumption expenditure, exports, and imports are up in FY26. But even the share of these components have been coming down from FY23 in the revised series. Can you throw some light on this?
It's because the other sectors, the ones that you haven't mentioned, are growing faster than these sectors. So it's just a matter of which sectors grow the fastest. Even if you see a correction in the base year numbers, the sectors which grow faster subsequently will see their shares going up. So it's just mathematical.
Okay. The discrepancy levels have increased from 0.7% in the old estimate to 1.5% in the revised estimate for FY26. If I'm right, the inclusion of more data sets should have brought down the discrepancies. How did this happen?
See, I don't think you should actually compare discrepancies across the first and the second advanced estimates because the base years are different. When you
Okay.
look at the new base year, the initial year, the discrepancies are zero. And in the
Okay.
subsequent years, they are there. But what we expect is that as more data comes in and as the quarterly numbers end up getting revised, the discrepancy number should shrink quite significantly in the new series as well.
Do you think, in the coming series, we should include more data sets into the revision of GBPC?
They have been included. The new series is built on new data sets and new surveys that were not there in the past. So they are going to provide richer information about a larger part of the Indian economy. And there'll be basically less proxies that you're using. So hopefully, with the use of these new data sets, there will be less revisions in the annual numbers going ahead. On a quarterly basis, I suspect we may still see revisions because many of the surveys that are used for the GST estimation are actually annual surveys. They're not
Okay.
quarterly surveys. So when we do the quarterly data estimation, there is a quarterization of annual information, which may not always be very accurate, especially in a gap of just 2 months after the quarter is ending.
Right.
So while we do think that quarterly revisions may continue, hopefully the annual revisions, the degree of those will go down in the new series.
Okay. In your opinion, is there any other data sets which need to be included in the revision, in the coming revisions?
No, I think as of now, we've done quite a lot. We've moved quite a long way. First of all, the old series was really, really very old. And
Okay.
from that, moving to a much more updated series, we should have much richer and much more accurate information about the actual state of the Indian economy. It's similar to what we've seen on the CPI side, that a lot of obsolete items have been removed. And
Okay.
we're capturing price movement of stuff that we actually use, what we produce and what we buy these days. So it's a significant improvement. We can argue that even on the CPI side, we should be uh, collecting the data even more frequently. But at least we've moved to a new frame and new weights, which are much more accurately representing what is produced and purchased in the Indian economy.
Okay. The shares of primary and secondary sectors have reduced, while that of tertiary sector has moved up. What does it say about the growth in sectors like, agriculture and manufacturing?
See, basically, the services sector still is growing faster than the other two sectors, which was the case in the old series as well. So it's
Hmm.
really not surprising that this is the case. However, I think when we've done the reset, the share of the services sector is lower than what it was in the earlier series. But because it's growing faster than the other two, its share is increasing in the new series as well. So that is what we would have expected, that at the current stage of India's development, it is the services sector that is growing faster than the other two sectors.
Anything about agriculture and manufacturing? Are they actually growing slower or maybe lesser than what is desired?
See, agriculture, I mean, there would be a limit to what kind of growth we can have. We have seen the area sown going up quite steadily in the last couple of years after COVID. And here, the vagaries of the monsoon, etc., crop damage, crop loss, there are so many factors to contend with. So we cannot really expect that agriculture is going to grow significantly faster than what we have seen in the recent past. And manufacturing, particularly the recent period, we've seen very healthy growth, particularly after GST. And I think, that impact will probably continue for some more time. Our view is that even after the first flush of consumer durables growth may peter out, it would be consumer non-durables which will see a sustained growth after the GST rationalization. And then in FY28, we are anticipating the pay revision, and that should then again give another boost to consumer durables after that.
Okay. What impact will the revision have on our fiscal targets and budgetary allocations?
See, mathematically, now that the nominal GDP base is smaller than what had been penciled in at the time of the budget, the fiscal deficit to GDP ratio and the debt to GDP ratio are a little bit higher than what the budget had penciled in.
Exactly.
And that means that there'll have to be slightly tighter fiscal consolidation over the course of the year. And the debt to GDP target needs a slightly steeper correction to get to the medium term target of 50 plus minus 1% in the next few years.
So what will government do about it? They will go ahead with this kind of targets, or probably they will also revise it in the revised estimate?
Yeah, we'll have to really wait and watch and see, how the revenue situation unfolds over the course of the year and what happens to expenditure. So on the fiscal deficit itself, it's, less than 20 bips of a correction which needs to be made to come down to 4.3% of GDP. It will
Right.
also depend on what the nominal GDP growth for FY27 turns out to be. We've taken a number slightly higher than 10%. So if nominal GDP grows faster, then that can possibly take care of some of the additional fiscal consolidation which is required. But on the debt to GDP side, there, it's a matter of like 2 percentage points additional of consolidation which would be required by FY 3031. So there, I think we'd have to wait and see, what the government suggests.
Okay. Will the
Having
government
said
go?
that, I think one thing that I will point out that now that we've seen a lot of conversions happening, at least the gross market borrowing number for FY27 is likely to be lower than what had been penciled into the budget.
Okay.
Also, that is something that should help bond yields.
In that case, with the allocations will be lower than what has been estimated in the budget for different sectors.
The expenditure allocations, no, the expenditure allocations will remain what they are in the budget, but the government may choose to make some changes over the course of the year to make sure that the fiscal deficit is actually restricted to 4.3% of GDP.
Okay. So with the GDP shrinking and the rupee also remaining weak, will we reach the $4 trillion target in FY?
See, I don't think we should say GDP shrinking because that would mean that we are in a contractionary phase. That's not the case. An updated estimate has revealed that the size of the economy is smaller than what we were projecting,
Yes.
what we were estimating earlier. I think we should, just look at it like that. Now, there will be growth in nominal GDP in the current year. We're expecting it to be a double-digit nominal GDP growth. And even if we build in some rupee depreciation in FY27, I do think we'll cross the 4 trillion mark in FY27.
Okay. The GDP growth rate has improved in the new series, as we have been discussing about this now. But that growth has come from a low base, if I'm right. When we are already the fastest growing, largest economy, how does this faster growth benefit the country as such?
See, first of all, it's validation that we're still growing very fast, even though the size is a little smaller than what we were estimating earlier. I think, it's great validation that we are a very high growth economy. Beyond that, sustaining this growth, improving it over the medium term, that's really what will benefit per capita incomes over a period of time. So that's what we are hoping will be the case.
Okay, so our viewers would probably want to know, like they hear about words like GDP and the fiscal target and all. So when it comes to GDP as such, what should the common man take from it? Like, what will be the benefit for the common man if we are growing at a faster pace?
Look, if we are growing at a faster pace, hopefully it will translate into faster growth in wages, faster growth in incomes, and overall better living conditions over a period of time.
Right. Right. Yeah. So that was Aditi Nair, Chief Economist ICRA, giving us a deeper understanding of the revised GDP series. Thank you for joining me in the show, Aditi.
Thank you.